We are weather alert tonight with a winter storm warning in effect through 10 o'clock this evening. What you need to know to stay safe. The Legislative Black Caucus says they'll defend current juvenile justice laws. We pressed the governor on whether he'll push for changes to curb crime in the state. Ongoing attacks in the Red Sea spark fears of wider conflict in the Middle East. How the U.S. military is working to stop Houthi rebels in Yemen.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
We are weather alert tonight with a winter storm warning in effect until 10 o'clock tonight. You're taking a live look at the Inner Harbor, our mobile track, Towson, and our radar. Some areas are seeing up to 6 inches of snow. There's also a code blue extreme cold alert in effect through Monday morning. Baltimore City health officials are reminding people to drink plenty of fluids and to bring your pets inside. Thanks for staying with us this evening. I'm Mackenzie Frost. We have team coverage tonight of the storm system impacting our area. In a few moments, Vincent Hill and Alexa Ashwell from our mobile track in Fells Point. But first, let's get a check of the forecast with meteorologist Jasmine Lomax.
Thanks, Mackenzie. We're starting to see a lot of that snow taper. We still have a couple pockets with some light snow, but a lot of the more consistent snow now along the eastern shore as it continues to push farther to our east. Now, the snow continues to taper over the next few hours, and once that happens, our focus then shifts on the cold temperatures that we are getting ready for tomorrow. So notice today, yes, it was cold, obviously cold enough for snow, but it gets much worse tomorrow as Arctic high pressure builds over the region. So for much of the East Coast, we're getting ready for temperatures around 20, even 40 degrees below average for this time of year. And that could have impacts on you if you're planning on spending some time outside, maybe shoveling or even going to the Ravens game. We're talking single-digit wind chills. Coming up, I'll have a closer look at the timing of the snow and when we'll finally see some higher temperatures in my Weather Authority forecast. Mackenzie?
Jasmine, thank you. City crews are working to keep roads clear, but freezing temperatures overnight, you just heard Jasmine talk about that, could cause icy patches in some areas. Fox 45's Vincent Hill is in our Len Stoller mobile track. Vince, what's it looking like out there on the roads? I see the windshield wipers going, and it is pitch black.
Yeah, Mackenzie, that's exactly right. So we're 83 southbound near Cockeysville. Snow has actually picked up again here. I know it's hard to see on the camera, but the flakes are pretty. Trucks were out around 83 just a few minutes ago. As these temperatures drop, the concern is, of course, ice on the roadways. So if you don't need to be out, please don't be out. If you need to be out, just be very cautious that, the roads are slippery right now. And here we go with an SUV that just passes at a pretty high rate of speed. And, the accident that we saw earlier was an SUV, and the Baltimore County police officer said, yeah, it's those SUVs that get that false sense of security that they have big tires and they're okay, but nothing can beat that ice. So again, we're on 83 southbound heading towards Cockeysville. For now, Mackenzie, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Vince, thank you for that. Be sure to stay safe out there. Many businesses across Baltimore stayed open today, even through the second round of snow. Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell was in Fells Point today and spoke with some people about how they're enjoying the snow day.
Here in Fells Point, Broadway Square, snow cover. To give you an idea just how much accumulation we're dealing with here, you can see how much on the bench. All day, restaurant, bar owners have been working hard, keeping the sidewalks clear. What we're seeing now tonight is the buildup of that slush and the concern for a refreeze, something you will want to be mindful of tonight if you plan to step out.
Shovels.
I'm trying to keep up with it.
And buckets of salt.
Since last night, we've, been pre-treating stuff.
Bar and restaurant owners here in Fells Point have been hard at work clearing the snow and slush. Cooper's Tavern even has blankets on standby for those who want to brave the cold. The blankets, of course, Ravens purple, ahead of Saturday's playoff game.
And really just looking to bring out a good Baltimore vibe, snowy weather. I think there's going to be a lot of out-of-towners in Baltimore, particularly Fells.
Some of those out-of-towners already here for tomorrow's game. and thankful they beat any flight delays.
We heard our friends are getting stuck in Houston, so we're glad we're here. We weren't expecting it to be snowing like this as much. We were expecting the cold. We brought our gear, but we were not expecting the snow to be this way.
But those who call Baltimore home, even a little surprised, but not deterred by the weather.
Big Ravens fan, and I'm excited. Hopefully we get to win.
Are you going to the game?
No.
Could you imagine in this weather?
I would go in the snow. I wouldn't go because it's too cold. It's going to be really cold.
Cold, but the excitement brewing.
Grab a bite to eat, get some drinks, stay warm, because it's going to be a fun weekend.
Take a look at the reflection on the cobblestone here, showing just how wet the roads are. And of course, the concern there as the temperature continues to drop, the chance for those freezing and slick spots. So you'll certainly want to be mindful of that if you plan to head out in your car or even on foot. Reporting in Fells Point, Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
Alexa, thanks, and be sure to wake up tomorrow with Fox 45 Morning News as we track that freezing weather. Meteorologist Amy Aronson has your full forecast starting at 7 a.m. And anytime snow hits, you can have the up-to-the-minute forecast right at your fingertips. Download the Fox 45 Weather Authority app. Just search WBFF in your app store to get started. As pressure mounts to make changes to curb juvenile crime in Maryland, the Legislative Black Caucus says it will defend the current juvenile justice laws. Tonight, we're pressing Governor Wes Moore to find out if he will push for any changes.
The Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland is pleased to present its 2024 priority agenda.
The Legislative Black Caucus standing by Maryland's juvenile justice laws, especially the Interrogation Act.
We believe that legislation is a critical bill, and we will defend that legislation this session.
State Senator Jill Carter, a Democrat from Baltimore City, is also one of the architects of the juvenile justice reform in Maryland, and she remains adamantly against making significant changes to the Interrogation Act.
I'll listen to the arguments, but I don't think that there's any need to have them in person.
But we've heard from several states' attorneys in Maryland saying the laws are hindering public safety efforts.
What we're realizing when we talk to the young people is that young people, the juveniles, know there's nothing that we can do.
We can't charge them. I mean, essentially, if they are found to have committed the crime, the police just have to drive them home. I mean, that's really all we can do.
Juvenile crime continues to dominate the conversation in the General Assembly. Lawmakers raising constitutional concerns if current interrogation laws are changed.
The Legislative Black Caucus last year in the Maryland General Assembly passed really important foundational legislation to make sure that children in our communities are not interrogated without their constitutional rights of being able to ensure that they have access to an attorney.
Well, prosecutors push back on that notion.
Our youth deserve extra protections. I'm not against giving them extra protections, but we have to act in ways that promote the public safety consistent with those extra protections.
But what lawmakers will do to find a solution remains elusive.
Public safety is our administration's top priority.
Governor Wes Moore rolling out his crime strategy before lawmakers started session.
We've announced an all-of-the-above approach to public safety,
but did not include specific juvenile crime plans in that package. When asked what he wants to see, the governor short on specifics.
A hallmark of what I hope to see in any juvenile justice legislation that's going to make it to my desk can be summarized in one word: accountability.
But did indicate one area of support.
We need to think seriously about lengthening probation for juveniles guilty of gun crimes.
Friday, after the comments from the Legislative Black Caucus,
this Black Caucus will protect our recent policies and laws related to the juvenile justice.
We sent questions to Governor Moore's office asking, does he believe there needs to be changes made to the Interrogation Act? Does he still believe the length of probation should be extended? Does he support the Legislative Black Caucus while it says it will defend the current juvenile justice laws? The governor's team not directly answering the questions, instead saying, quote, Governor Moore is committed to working with the General Assembly to carefully review and address the state's juvenile justice laws. Meanwhile, the pressure continues to build for lawmakers in Annapolis to do something about juvenile crime as prosecutors ring the alarm about what's at stake.
We can only hope that they'll not listen to just folks like me or my 23 colleagues across the state who are the chief prosecutors in our counties, but hopefully they'll listen to their citizens, because their citizens are saying the exact same thing. Enough's enough.
Urging lawmakers that this session is critical.
We can't wait forever. Because this is too big an issue that needs to be fixed.
Everybody is saying we must do something. And right now, the legislature, we're looking at you because you have the power to do something to make this right.
I'm Atrell Nashar in Washington, where President Biden concedes airstrikes against the Houthis are not deterring their attacks. Coming up, what the terror group says are their new targets.
And we're seeing some areas of snow still around the state, but overall, the snow continues to taper. I'll let you know about the cold temperatures that follow in my Weather Authority forecast.
Fox 45 News, winner of 16 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined.
We are on weather alert with the snow returning in full force. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax is tracking the winter storm with some areas seeing up to 6 inches. Jasmine, what is it looking like right now?
Thanks, Mackenzie. The good news is that a lot of the snow is starting to taper. We still have a few spots in blue, a couple of flurries still over parts of Maryland, but over the next couple hours, snow will continue to taper and will return to a mostly dry forecast for the rest of the weekend. However, it's still going to very much feel like winter as we get ready for just brutal temperatures tonight and tomorrow. Now, our winter alerts have been cleared. Those have been expired, so that is the winter storm warning and the winter weather advisory around the Baltimore area. That's a good sign that things are starting to slow down. Now we're getting ready for the cold temperatures. 29 over Baltimore with mostly cloudy skies. Winds at this time out of the west around 9 miles per hour, not too breezy. We're seeing numbers in the 20s and the 30s across the state, below freezing all around. but the number's still higher than what they're going to be tomorrow. First tonight, get ready for the teens. Wind chills will be in the low single digits, and it's followed by even worse numbers by the afternoon. Our high temperatures will reach the 20s, but it certainly will not feel like it. So tomorrow morning, as you step outside around 7, 8 o'clock, notice the wind chills around the area in the single digits and possibly below zero for parts of the state, especially farther north. Then into the afternoon, the wind chills slowly start to rise, but staying below 10 for most of us. Into the late afternoon and around kickoff for the Ravens game, we're talking wind chills between 5, 7 degrees around Baltimore City. And the numbers will, of course, drop as we head into the night. If you'll be going to the game or even if you'll just be outside, maybe shoveling, you want to make sure that you are covering your extremities and dressing in layers. On Sunday, we're off to a cold start to the day, but by the afternoon, not as bad, especially with lower wind speeds. 18 for the low tonight as snow continues to taper. Then tomorrow, our high temperatures will be almost 20 degrees below average, 26 for the high, but of course it's the winds that are going to make it feel so much worse. Winds will be out of the west-northwest around 15 to 20 miles per hour, gust up to 30 miles per hour, and that's going to give us those single-digit wind chills. Coming up, we'll have a look at what to expect as the weekend ends on Sunday and just how much warmer it gets throughout the upcoming work week in the exclusive 10-day forecast.
Turning now to the conflict in the Red Sea, where Houthi rebels in Yemen continue to disrupt the critical shipping route in response to Israel's offensive in Gaza. President Joe Biden now says U.S. strikes against the group are not deterring those attacks. Sinclair national correspondent Atra El-Nashar reports on what this could mean for a wider conflict in the Middle East.
The leader of the Houthis aiming provocative words at the U.S. and its allies. In a televised speech Thursday, Abdel Malik al-Houthi says it is a great blessing and honor to be in direct confrontation with the U.S.
The issue that America and Britain have joined the war directly and that we are now in direct confrontation with the Americans, British, and Israelis does not scare us at all.
The newly redesignated terror group has been carrying out attacks against commercial ships in the Red Sea in retaliation for Israel's offensive in Gaza, where the death toll is nearing 25,000, according to the health ministry under the Hamas-run government. Last week, the U.S. led airstrikes with the U.K. on Houthi targets in Yemen. President Biden now concedes this.
Are the airstrikes in Yemen working? Well, when you say working, are they stopping the Houthis? No. Are they going to continue? Yes.
The Houthis say they now view American and British interests in the region as targets. Back in Washington, debate about how to put an end to Houthi aggression.
They need to know they're going to be paying a price for trying to diminish the ability to have commercial shipping.
With the Houthis insisting they cannot be deterred, fears of a bigger war in the Middle East breaking out are only getting worse. Founder and president of Eurasia Group Ian Bremmer says it's impossible that the war stay only in Gaza.
There are too many avenues for escalation. The Americans are unable to deter the Houthis from further attacks in the Red Sea. The Americans also cannot deter Netanyahu and the war cabinet in Israel from continued attacks in Gaza.
An escalating crisis with more players and no end in sight, 3.5 months after Hamas's October 7th attacks. On Capitol Hill, I'm Atra El-Nashar reporting.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Oregon is trying to recover from this week's ice storms, but check out these highway signs freshly coated in new ice. This bird feeder provided some much-needed food for a cardinal during today's storms near Cincinnati. As snow slides off a Tennessee roof, the icicles ended up parallel to the ground. And an unusual hole punch cloud in Ohio this week. The fall streak made it much farther than usual towards the ground, likely due to much more humid air.
Alaska Airlines passengers are forming a class action lawsuit after a door plug blew off early this month. Why they say the airline prioritized profits over passenger safety. Passengers who were on Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 described the harrowing moments when they thought they were going to die. That comes after a door plug blew off the plane mid-flight. Now, more than a dozen have joined a class action lawsuit against Boeing and Alaska Airlines in what's expected to be the first of many in the legal fallout over this near disaster. In tonight's Assignment America, Lynn Ann Wynn from our sister station in Seattle has the latest developments as the legal battle begins.
There was a rather very loud explosion, so much so that my ears initially just started ringing really loud.
Susanna Anderson, along with 170 others, boarded what they thought would be a routine flight when there was a sudden blowout on the plane.
Things began to fly in the air, papers, debris, some solid objects. It was pretty chaotic. I could feel that my phone and my coat, everything was being pulled backwards.
Anderson was in the front of the plane and couldn't see what was wrong, but 28 rows back, Garrett Cunningham could.
I looked to my left and part of the plane is gone. My first thing was it didn't make sense. My brain couldn't compute what I was looking at.
As the oxygen mask dropped, some passengers reported feeling like they were about to pass out, including a mother traveling with her 3 young children.
She then felt that the oxygen was running out, and her thought was, if I give my son oxygen and I can at least keep a mask on my 1-year-old face, then he may be the one that survives.
Others started to come to terms that this was the end.
Sent my son a message letting him know that he was and has been the best part of my life.
More than a dozen passengers have now joined in a class action lawsuit against Alaska Airlines and Boeing, accusing both companies of putting profits over passenger safety by failing to properly secure the door plug that blew off the plane.
It's only by the grace of God and 10 minutes that I'm still here. Because 10 minutes later, I wouldn't be here.
We are weather alert as snow continues to fall over the state, but it will taper over the next few hours and we'll be left with cold temperatures. We're looking at 26 tomorrow. Temperatures around the Ravens game, or wind chills I should say, will be in the single digits. Make sure that you have layers. 34 on Sunday, then 38 on Monday, 44 and finally above average on Tuesday. A rainy pattern follows, but temperatures continue to rise through the end of the work week. We're looking at the 50s, and then into the following weekend, temperatures gradually fall back to the 40s. Mackenzie?
Jasmine, thank you. And finally tonight, the Ravens fan caravan hitting a roadblock today in the snowy weather, but that did not stop the flock from showing their support. Mark Clark gives us a closer look.
So weather may have stopped the Ravens caravan, but we're still having fun here at Jimmy's Seafood. I got some Ravens fans who are excited. That's right. What's your name?
My name is Naya.
Naya.
I'm Kyla.
Kyla.
And Mommy Yvonne.
Oh, I thought you were a sister, Mom. Okay, guys, we're excited about now. What's your favorite player? Who's your favorite player?
Jackson, of course.
Lamar Jackson?
Yes. I'm going to say OBJ. This is so beautiful.
Got the same hairstyle.
Yeah, I love me some OBJ.
Okay, wait a minute. You can tell the fans are out. The weather may be challenging. It did not stop the party. Again, the Ravens caravan got slowed down because of weather. Having a great time. Go Ravens. Guys, are you going to, Mom, predict the score? What's the score going to be after Saturday?
Oh, my God. I would say at least, I don't know, we're going to be in the high 30s.
The high 30s?
The high 30s.
And we're going to win.
We're going to win, absolutely.
Okay, we're going to win in the high 30s. You heard it from Mom. And I'm telling you, the Ravens destined to win. Again, at Jimmy's Seafood, I'm Mark Clark, Fox 45 News. Let's go Ravens!
That looks like a blast. And that's all the time for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud is next, and we'll see you right back here at 10.